Alright guys, so there's actually quite a bit of stuff to go through. We had a video in a couple of days. Reason is that I was actually pretty sick, so thankfully that's all over. But of course we have some content to go through amongst others, Grim Forest. But today's video is actually about the new Fusion champion, and it's basically the old question again. Should you go for it? Is it somebody that you should skip? And obviously always with a bit of a focus on new accounts, free-to-play accounts. If you are in the late game, chances are that you have plenty of resources to go for the Fusion one way or another just to bank a new champion. But for newer accounts, this is worth to spend your resources here, or is it something that you should actually skip depending where you are. So let's take a closer look at the champion, and then we're going to go a little bit over what you should do, what the plan looks like for it, and yeah, let's take a quick look. So right about before we're jumping into the champion itself, here's currently the calendar for the entire Fusion. So obviously you have to get the rares, you can also like try and get some of the epics, but at the end of the day it's like a typical Fusion, none of the hybrids that we had for a while. Yukimasa is actually an attack champion and he's force, and as you can see there's plenty of events throughout the month until the end of December where you can then get the champions, level them up accordingly and get him. So if you haven't seen the schedule yet, that would be the time to take a quick screenshot just so you can make sure that you get all the all the champions that you need in order to go for the Fusion. But again, without further ado, let's look at the champion itself. So when we look at Yukimasa, the first thing that already stands out is that he is a Shadowkin champion. That might be interesting for quite a few people out there, since that's one of the newer factions in the game. Not the newest by any means, but there's a good chance that you actually don't have too many high-level champions in that particular faction. That might be interesting. His champion is designed also, amongst other things, for Arena, which you can already tell from his aura. So you have an ally attack increase in Arena by 33%, which is kind of neat, but typically in Arena we're going for speed, but still something to be used. When we're looking at the passive, it's essentially that it fills his turn meter by 50% every single time that he has a turn skip because he is disabled. But might be a stun, a freeze, sleep, or whatever it may be. So it's already kind of interesting here and helps you a little bit. And also the next attack after that will ignore 50% of the target's defense, which is obviously already quite nice. If you survive skipping a turn, then your next will happen a lot faster, and you're also getting the extra 50% ignore defense, which is going to make your attack a lot more powerful. We're looking at his A3, so the first thing is it attacks only one opponent. By the way, not really very book hungry, so we only need 3 here, but you steal the turn meter from the target. That also works apparently to quite a few bosses, which is kind of useful on the one hand, but there are obviously a lot of bosses out there that are completely immune to any kind of turn meter manipulation, and that applies here as well. But in this case, we are stealing the turn meter, which can be quite nice also in PvE when you're going up against a specific wave and there's like one key champion in there that you're trying to keep from taking a turn. Same also true for Arena, obviously. And also in here, we're equalizing the target's defense with this champion's defense for the attack. This is an attack champion, so you would expect that it's quite lower, and then you can hope to do a lot more damage through that, obviously. Now, at the same time, when we're having the A2, that's where it also starts to get interesting, because we're having now an attack that hits everyone, and it applies a freeze. So this is already pretty awesome. If we are getting all the books in, then the freeze is essentially 100%, and it also can't be resisted if there's at least one enemy on the other side that is already disabled with the debuffs that are currently entered there. So that's actually already quite interesting, because first of all we have a nice CC skill that we can use not only in Arena but also in PvE, and you always have that added tool of when somebody that is irresistible when somebody on the other side is disabled. But again, just even without that, that's already a really nice tool to have. And also it ignores block damage buffs, which is another really nice tool, honestly. And you have a reviver with him too. So you revive an ally with this one as well, or revive all the allies if you kill an enemy. So this is actually pretty big, because we're having not too many revives in the Shadowkin faction, so there's a good chance that you might not have one yet. Where it gets really sexy though is his A1. So this one is actually pretty nice. You have, if buff, 40% of placing an active block active skill debuff on the opponent, which also again can't be resisted. You see a pattern here already if the opponent is under stuns, freezes, sleeps, and so on. And it also instantly activates the skill whenever this champion skips a turn. So you have actually a lot of really good chances here with an attack all enemies skill that allows you to simply get a block active skills, or a decent chance of a block active skills on your opponent with your A1. Now, there are lots of areas now where just because he has an attacks all enemy on his A1 and his A2, he becomes interesting, campaign being one of them. So if you don't have a campaign farmer yet, you could technically even use him there, even though it's of course a little bit of a luxury tool. But his A1 is honestly sick. His multipliers are pretty good, so the damage that he brings out is very nice. And just the fact that you have on an A1 the block active skills makes him also insanely powerful in a lot of PvE content. If you have something where you get a counter attack debuff on him too, that can obviously help him help your general lineup a lot. Or let's say you have an ally attack that includes him, then you can use this as well. And the freeze that we're getting on our A2 is really powerful for wave control. So no matter what we're talking about in PvE or in PvP, he's actually exceptionally good. Now, this is definitely go for him if you can. I gotta say, I will get him on my main account. I will 100% also use all the resources that I have on my free-to-play account to make sure to get him, because he's a super powerful tool. He does a lot of damage, which is nice. He has a fantastic A1. He has 2 skills that attack all enemies. His A2 gets us a lot of control through the freeze. And then we have also the A3, where we can very specifically manipulate a single enemy on the other side in order to make sure that he doesn't get a turn. When we're talking about Grim Forest, when we're talking about Cursed City, Doom Tower, maybe it's that Sifi on the other side that you want to shut down. Maybe it's a Marshalt or something that you want to make sure doesn't get a turn so it can screw up your entire lineup. So he's a fantastic champion. And also that he has his revive on his A2, that's pretty awesome. So make sure that you start it up. There are a couple of the events I've already started, as you might have seen. Again, apologies. I would have loved to throw the video out a day or two earlier, but I got sick. But there's still plenty of time. The events are still all running, so make sure that you invest what you have to in order to get the champion. He's absolutely worth it, and he is going to make your lineup so much more powerful. Especially if you're having a newer account, he is going to be a huge asset for you and a big tool to go through PvE content, which will also assist you with PvP. So again, if you have the resources, make sure that you get him, because he's definitely worth it. Now, if you made it this far in the video, once again, thanks for watching, and also give the video a thumbs up. That would be awesome, and I hope to see all of you guys in the next one. Bye bye.